to Olfactofiles. I'm Tara, and today we're going to talk about two new releases from Kilian. Well, I mean, neither really is technically a new release. So we're talking about two fragrances that are newly available in the United States. One wasn't available much of anywhere for a while, and that is Sacred Wood. That was discontinued, but then recently brought back. And I think that that's been available for maybe about a week or two now. Really wanted to get this filmed earlier, but I wasn't feeling well. So we're getting to that now. Also, there is a release that was launched elsewhere in the world previously, but just got to the United States today when I'm filming this, which is October 15th. And that is called A Kiss from a Rose. And so that one is brand new to the United States, but if you live elsewhere, maybe you've already had a chance to try it. I was lucky enough to get samples of both of these from Sabrina. She's at the Indianapolis Saks Fifth Avenue. So if you guys ever want to order anything from Kilian, or she does Tom Ford, and I think she can really help you with probably any fragrance you want, but she specializes in those two, I believe. I will leave her email linked down below. She's awesome, and she always is really nice about like getting me samples of things I want to try. So anyway, she gave me samples of both. I've worn both full wearing once, and I have them both on my wrists currently as well. All right, so let's go ahead and start with Sacred Wood. I have barely any left in here, but I'm gonna spray the last little bit on this tester strip, and I also have it on my wrist for the dry down. I put it on maybe like 2 hours ago. So anyway, Sacred Wood, like I said, is a re-release. It was created by Kilian Becker, who does a ton of fragrances for Kilian, and this is their like the sandalwood fragrance that they have. And it's really, I think, particularly sought after because it uses Mysore sandalwood, which is a little bit more rare in fragrances anymore, but I really like this, of course, because I really like sandalwood. So in the opening, I definitely get the obviously sandalwood, but also I think there's cedar in here, and I get a little bit of that too because it's not super creamy, although there is like a milk quality to this, like a spicy, slightly spicy, somewhat milky, but like a watery milk quality to it. It's not creamy. Like sometimes sandalwood can come off really, really creamy. This one is like a little bit more on the dry side to me, and it could be because of what I think is also cedar in here. But yeah, it's not super creamy. I still very much like it. It's not that I don't like it because it's not creamy. It's just different styles of sandalwood, right? So this one is not super dry, but a little bit more on the dry side, in my opinion. It definitely has a little bit of a milky quality to it. And like I said, there's like something a little bit spicy, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. But there is something a little bit spicy about it. Now, if I smell it on my wrist for the dry down, I would say it does become a little bit more creamy and less spicy in the dry down, at least on my skin. And it's a beautiful, just sort of soft sandalwood fragrance. Definitely doesn't like project a ton, but it does linger. When I wore this, I would say, you know, it's kind of on par with a lot of Kilian's, where it's not like beast mode by any means, but it does hang around most of the day, even if it gets kind of quiet. And that's how this was on my skin as well. Yeah, like I said, it becomes kind of soft, but a little bit creamier, and just a really beautiful sandalwood fragrance. So if you are a fan of sandalwood and you've never smelled Sacred Wood, definitely check that out. When I looked on the Saks Fifth Avenue website today, it's not there, even though it has been re-released. So perhaps you could check with like your local Saks Fifth Avenue, or just kind of look around and see if you can find it elsewhere. You could also, I'll leave Sabrina's email, like I said, down below, and you could also check with her. Maybe she can help you track down a bottle if you're interested in it. But I definitely really like it. I'm not sure yet if I want a bottle, because I do have a lot of sandalwood fragrances, and I don't know that this is different enough from a few that I have to warrant buying a bottle. But if I didn't have so many sandalwood fragrances already, I would definitely consider buying this because I really, really like it. Okay, so the other one that is a brand new release from Kilian is called A Kiss from a Rose. And this one definitely reminds me of the Seal song. But right away in the opening, I wasn't sure that I was going to love it because yes, there's rose, but in the opening, it's actually very green and white floral to me. And y'all know white floral's not my thing, but that's what I get in the opening, is like this very like sort of green, like, I don't really know, like a maybe stem or some sort of something that's giving it a green quality. And then white florals. And I'm not sure if it's jasmine. I'm not sure exactly what, but there's something in there that smells like that. Now, like I said, there is also the rose, but yeah, the opening had me a little bit nervous for this one because I was like, not necessarily bad. Like if you like green, white florally types of fragrances, then you would probably love that opening. But for me, I don't particularly love green fragrances in general, with a few exceptions, and I don't particularly love white florals in general, with a few exceptions. So this didn't start off on a high note for me by any means. However, as this dried down, I definitely started to enjoy it more. So when I smell it on my skin, definitely the rose comes out a lot more as it dries down, which I like personally because I really like rose. I have a lot of rose fragrances too. I have a whole video on that. If you want to check it out, I'll try to remember to put it up wherever it goes here. But yeah, I would say in the dry down, it's more of like a clean, musky sort of base to it, and then the rose. And that's mostly what I get. I would say most of the greenness is gone by the time it fully dries down, at least on me after a couple hours. And I would say that maybe there's the tiniest bit of a woodiness to it, but mostly it's like a rose and a clean musk sort of base. Now, A Kiss from a Rose, I think might have been created by Alberto Marias. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. I know it wasn't Khalees Becker. And I would say in general, this definitely opens a little stronger in terms of like projection than Sacred Wood does, but it also kind of gets closer to the skin as it dries down. Again, a lot of Kilian sort of do that same thing where they last for a decent amount of time. Not all of them, but most of them last for a decent amount of time on me, but a lot of them will get pretty close to the skin after they've kind of dried down. And that's how these are as well. The only Kilians, well, I shouldn't say only, but one of the only Kilians that really I wear frequently that does like just project and last like crazy on me is Angel Share, which I talk about all the time. I still love it. Like Angel Share and Back to Black, still my favorites, just in case you're curious, from Kilian. I love both of those so much. But I do think that these last fairly well. They just become pretty quiet. So if that is important to you, that's how they performed on me. Doesn't mean they'll perform the same way on you or anyone else, but that's kind of what I get. And it's similar to what most of the Kilian fragrances do on my skin. All in all, I'm not sure that I would get a bottle of either of these. I do enjoy the dry down of A Kiss from a Rose, but the opening is not my favorite, so I'll probably pass on that. I think that one is a little bit more expensive than some of the others as well, but it does come in that beautiful red bottle, which I'm sure I have put somewhere in this video by now so you can see a picture of it. But Sacred Wood is one that I would consider picking up. Again, it's something I need to think about because I do have just a lot of sandalwood fragrances because that's a note I really enjoy, as is Rose. So both of these I ended up enjoying, but I would say I prefer Sacred Wood personally over A Kiss from a Rose. So those are my thoughts on these new / re-releases from Kilian. I would love to know if you've smelled either of these before. I would imagine that several of you guys who watch my channel probably have smelled Sacred Wood previously since it has been around before. And honestly, I smelled it a long time ago and I remembered liking it, but I don't remember it enough to be able to say if this is exactly the same or not. It probably is, or really close to the same. But like I said, it's been so long that I couldn't tell you for sure whether or not it's the same as it was when it was released previously. But then I'm curious if anybody has had a chance to smell A Kiss from a Rose yet, because that one, like I said, is brand new in the US. I do think I saw, maybe it was Aussie Fragrance, do a video on this quite some time ago when it came out in Australia, which was a long time ago, or it feels like a long time ago. So if that is true, I will link that video below. But if that is not true, my apologies. However, you should still go check out Mark's channel because he is hilarious. I hope you all liked this video. If so, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, which I think is here. And as always, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.